political parties here present, members of the diplomatic corps, Nananom, ministers of faith, distinguished invited guests, members of the various media houses, ladies and gentlemen. We meet here in Cape Coast, the capital of the Central Region, not for nothing, but in clear recognition of the fact that Cape Coast is the citadel of senior high education. And free senior high school education is a pillar of Nana Akufo-Addo's administration. Above all, we have elected to meet in Cape Coast to pay homage to the people of the Central Region for the central role they played in responding to the clarion call of the new patriotic party for change, to create jobs, equal opportunity and prosperity for all. The NPP recognized that the party could not have won without the incredible performance by the Central Region. Indeed, Central Region 4, Owazoye. I bring to you greetings from your representatives from the Parliament of Ghana and wish to indicate to you that I'm highly honored to make a few remarks at this year's regional annual Delegates Conference, which is holding a little less than 8 months after the swearing in of President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. It comes just about 9 months after the monumental victory of the party in the December 7, 2016 presidential and general elections. It was such a profound and decisive victory that left no chance for any manipulation by any of the forces of darkness and pulverized those propagandists who, in an exercise of self-deception and self-delusion, kept assuring themselves that their presidential candidate was in a comfortable lead. 8 months after the elections, some people are still in the world of hallucination and still thriving in the world of propaganda. It tells you that they are not relenting in their retail of half-truths and patented untruths. I salute you all, delegates, for the role you played in the electioneering campaigns, the role you played in mobilizing resources to lubricate the party's war machine, the role you played in the face of barefaced attempts to intimidate and bribe us, the role you played in praying and fasting for the party, the role you played in policing the polling stations in the course of the voting, the role you played in massively turning out to vote and bringing our people to vote, and above all, ensuring proper collation and declaration of the results. The battle indeed was the Lord's. We all worked hard, and God rewarded us with bounteous harvest, a harvest that was beyond our own imagination. That is what God does if you put your trust in Him, which reminds me of the lyrics of one of the popular tunes of the Tego sisters. Se uhunu wasem ka, unyami enkebi mao. Se uhunu ntokwa kwa, unyami enkebi mao, enkubi mao. Fa bibiara mano, udimafu nyame, obedia mao da, as God has done for the MPP. Ladies and gentlemen, in every human endeavor, one must pause to do introspection. In victory or in defeat, a political party must, in the fullness of time, pause to reflect. And I believe that any serious reflection will reveal that when the army of the MPP lifted high the flag of the elephant to go into combat, a few amongst us decided not to be part of the battle. Not only did they not participate, they tried to dissuade others not to join. Because, as they said, with Nana Akufo-Addo leading us, the party could not win. The party won a mighty and resounding victory, with Nana Addo leading us. Without that group of party members, we won. But with all hands on deck, I believe we could have inflicted a much more pulverizing defeat on the NDC by perhaps reducing their numbers to less than 100, or even less than 90 seats in Parliament. The election results bear testimony to that. There are about 17 seats that we could have won nationwide if we had worked slightly harder. We did not win these seats because, among other things, of our own internal conflicts. That is why this conference is necessary, to reflect on what we could have done better. There are constituencies in this region, central region, that we won, but in which we could have yet increased our figures in both presidential and parliamentary elections if available resources had been better applied. We must reflect on this. There were petty squabbles and quarrels that ensued from the conduct of our parliamentary and presidential primaries, which did tend to distract the army that was marching. Without those internal conflicts, we could have done yet better than we did. As a party, we should confront the reality and not pretend that everything is right with us. The conduct of elections at all levels of the party is increasingly, rather unfortunately, polarizing the party. We must reflect on this. The practice of resorting to choose national party officers, ladies and gentlemen, does not exist in any advanced democracy. People who want to offer their services to the party should not be crisscrossing the length and breadth of this country, spending huge sums of money in order to get elected. Regional officers spend watts of cities to get elected, and constituency executives spend excessively to get elected. In politics, let us remember, there are no Father Christmases. People who spend huge amounts thereafter form groups and take positions on who their preferred candidates should be. It is a recipe for factionalism. And there are those who refer to themselves as kingmakers and queenmakers who only position themselves to extract monies from aspirants and even potential aspirants. That system can only breed corruption. We all know this. How do we tackle such problems going forward? As I address you today, I am the only remaining MP for the New Patriotic Party who entered Parliament in 1997. I entered Parliament in the company of the Honourables Freddie Blay, the acting chairman of our party today, Papa Osei, Christine Checha, Yao Osafo Mafu, Isaac Edumaze, Dr. Kwame Adokufo, Albert Kandapa, Felix Ousho Japon, Ibrahim Oseidu, SK Boafo, Grace Coleman, Kwame Osei Prempe, Ban Redu, Dr. Richard Anane, Dr. Bafubone, Dr. Kofi Kunedu Apreku, Malik Alasan Yakubu, Yabrema, Hakman Oushuajiman, Lawyer Bo, Mrs. Asma, Teresa Tego, Ajari Koyelabi, Mustafa Idris, to mention just a few. And how can I forget the man with a white handkerchief on his sleeve? Nana Adudankwa Akufo-Addo. We were led at the time by the venerable Kyei Mensah. These were excellent debaters, masterclass performers. Ladies and gentlemen, can anybody imagine the strength of the party if all these people were to be in Parliament today? Many of them were pushed out because of hostilities in their various constituencies. Generally speaking, the party is left poorer as a result of the enforced high attrition rate. Let us reflect. Are we building the party or bringing the party down? My humble appeal to all of us is that the constant peeling off of members of Parliament is not helping to grow the party in Parliament. It explains why championing the cause of the party in Parliament today is often left on the shoulders of very few members of Parliament. So if you are not hearing much about your MP in Parliament, it is in part because you are not growing the party in your constituency. Let us reflect critically on what to do to reposition the party in our various constituencies. The chairman the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and his able Lieutenant, Dr. the Prophet Mohamedou Bawumia, assisted by the Ministers of State, Deputy Ministers, Members of Parliament, MMDCs, and all of us party officers and the rank and file, have just started the journey of restoration. The mission is to create or facilitate the creation of jobs and create the enabling environment for rapid and sustainable industrialization of our country. We can only achieve this if we work together and stay united, devoid of bickering and backbiting. We shall have a long stay in government if we stay united and focused, remembering that if it is not your turn today, tomorrow may be there for you. It does appear in many constituencies across the length and breadth of this country that some members of constituency executive have one problem or the other against their member of parliament. The hate that such people exhibit towards their members of parliament cannot be imagined. 8 months into the inauguration of members of parliament, I am aware that in the backyards of many of our members of parliament, including even first-time legislators, some MPP members have started conspiracies to remove those members of parliament. We should reflect. We should pause and consider repercussions of these intrigues on the fate of the party in the next elections. Just as God gave us victory in abundant proportions in 2016, if we abuse the talent, God may bring us down in similar fashion. Perish that thought anyway. That is why my appeal to all of us, party faithfuls today, is unity. Unity and unity. There's no substitute for unity. And if we want to retain power, the power God has given us, my dear colleagues and compatriots, we should stay united. As a government, we must remind ourselves that one matter that brought the NDC government down was unbridled corruption. The nation was fleeced and bled profusely under the previous administration. The then president lost the fight against corruption, and it was one key reason why a deputy minister in that administration could declare boldly that her purpose in that government was to make at least $1 million in 4 years. 4 million Ghana cedis, over 40 billion in just 4 years. Corruption hurts the poor disproportionately by diverting scarce funds intended for development. It undermines government's ability to provide such basic services as potable water, schools, shelter, clinics, toilet facilities, farming inputs to the populace, and thus aggravates inequality and injustice. It is the reason why Parliament stands ready to pass the laws on the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the right to information, and the reopening and possible renegotiation of the Ameri Agreement, among others. There are many cases of classical corruption that we must, as a nation, address. The cases of undeserved judgment debts paid to Isefatan, Rochelle, Construction Pioneers, Waterville, Agbesi, Wyoming, and the rest of them, often at the instance of a certain NDC Attorney General, cannot be swept under the carpet, Mr. President. On December 19, 2015, I made observation at the Sunyani Conference that the setting up of the Judgment Debt Commission by the former president, which took over from Parliament the consideration of the Auditor General's report on the payment of the judgment debt when the Public Accounts Committee was in the process of dealing with them, as required by Article 187 of the Constitution, was a constitutional aberration. It came as no surprise when the then Judgment Debt Commission made a spurious attempt to whitewash the payment of such judgment debts. That effort itself, as far as some of us are concerned, was bogus and fraudulent. For Article 187, clauses 5 and 6, make Parliament the ultimate recipient of the reports of the Auditor General. It is not the presidency. We must deal with such matters. They are still outstanding. Mr. President, The 1992 Constitution in Article 2681 provides for transactions, contracts, or undertakings involving the grant of a right or concession to any person for the exploration of any mineral, water, or natural resources of Ghana to be subject to the ratification by Parliament. It stands to reason that any natural resource that purportedly has been procured by whosoever, insofar as Article 2681 and 2 have not been complied with, cannot be legitimate. Parliament will stand firmly by the presidency to claim back for the people what is supposed to be a national asset. In much the same way, Mr. President, Parliament is ready and committed to consider and pass the laws on the development authorities for the North, the Middle and Coastal Belts, as well as the Zongo Development Fund, to accelerate national development of the country. Democracy should yield visible development and prosperity to the governed. Otherwise, our people will begin to lose trust in democratic governance. Mr. Chairman, Your Excellencies, it is my cherished expectation, amidst the frenzy and the oompa, that we shall leave Cape Coast, the fountain of knowledge, with a renewed sense of purposefulness, commitment, rededication to establishing a government devoid of base corruption and the gloom that had engulfed the country, and secure for our citizenry and posterity the blessings of liberty, equality of opportunity, and prosperity through job creation and demonstrable competence and effectiveness in governance. Mr. Chairman, I wish all of us a successful conference. God bless our homeland, Ghana. God bless MPP, and make us bold and strong in our fight to reposition Ghana. I thank you very much.